53-man rosters here. Javal, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I could be a Cowboys fan today, so we could be a lot worse.
That could
Can
be
we can
very.
we just have a quick talk about that? Because I literally remember yesterday I was setting up like the table, and then I just saw the news on my phone, and then I said, "There's no way that the Cowboys would actually trade Mike."
I was just playing the Uncharted collection, and the first time I would check my phone after replaying the first game, Drake's Fortune, I
Loaded
looked at my
series, by the
phone and
way.
it was immediately boop. Becca Parsons traded to the Packers. I was like,
Like
oh
out of
shit.
all the thing that bothers, it's not even just that they traded Micah, is that on top of trading him, they traded him to a team that's beat them in the play. The last time the Cowboys were in the playoffs, guess who they lost to? Like they didn't offer him to any A. If you really wanted to trade him, you didn't offer a trade to literally any AFC team. I'm not saying it had to be us, but why would you not trade him out of the con? I just don't understand this. Cow. On top of just botching this extension, where they always wait for the last minute to do extensions with their players, then they botched this trade. Genuinely hilarious. I'm sorry. I just can't get over that.
It's a hilarious situation. It just reminds me of the Jalen Ramsey trade. That's kind of like the first
I
thing
mean,
that
it
kind
was the
of
same
goes back
reason
to.
to get him. At least the Jags trade. I mean, granted, the Jags weren't like that competitive, and they traded him to a team like the Rams, who they did not have to face. Literally the other side of the country.
We still haven't
The
played Jalen
Packers
Ramsey in a
going to,
significant football game in Jacksonville since he left, which is actually very funny.
yeah, he's like this. We like the smoke, but yeah, we could be Cowboys fans, so I hope that for any Cowboys fans, they're somehow hanging in there. But yeah, I mean, either way, 53-man roster is finalized. We've got a good idea of who's going to be on the team. I mean, there's going to be some moving and shaking still, and even a little trade even after the 53 happened, which I think that's kind of the one thing I just want to kind of start talking about. It's just the proactiveness from Gladstone, just to really add players to the roster as he sees fit, and a lot of it has to do with like him, just how he sees the roster. And obviously when you're coming as a new GM, you don't have any attachments to guys that you did not draft. So a certain GM, he might have tried to let his players be on the roster even if they weren't that good because he drafted them. Not Gladstone. And we I just want to just talk about like all the roster overturn. I think I saw a tweet that said out of the 53 players that were on the Jags last year, that basically like 26 of them, like half the rosters turned over, and that they just, especially on the defensive side of the ball too, but even just going back to, I want to go to, I just want to pull up like the Jags draft history because if you just go back from even, not even from the urban year, but just 2022 and look at all the guys who are not on the team, it's genuinely hilarious. Luke Fortner shipped out, but he didn't even make it to the cut down day. He just got traded. Chad Muma, gone. Snoop Connor.
Gone.
Like, do they only have three players left from the 2022 draft? And one of those players is a seventh rounder, which shout out Buster Brown. He's had a
He's a
pretty solid.
great guy, good
I was a
player.
fan of him when the pick happened, so
Yeah.
I'm glad to see. And then even just going back to, I was look at 2021 because it's literally Trevor, ETN, Tyson Walker, like four players. I still Cisco, I'm still a little bit sad about, but that's happening. And then now 2023, who Tyler Lacey, fourth round pick, gone off the team. I literally saw a funnier tweet, and they said that Tyler Lacey was just doing nothing and 340 snaps, zero snacks, zero QB hits, and I think the man had like one pressure or something. Like Tyler Lacey just, I can't name to you anything he did. I get there's other players who weren't good. I can at least think of one or two plays. Tyler Lacey, I legit don't remember him doing anything. He got claimed by the Lions, I think. And then yeah. So Tyler Lacey's gone. The 23s class has still got some players. Still, it's not been even some of the late round picks. I mean, Braswell's still on the team. Parker Washington. So there's a couple of late round picks, but they also did have the Derek Parrish pick. That there's a couple of players. And even 2024, literally the two fourth round picks, top 120 picks. Javon Foster gone, Jordan Jefferson gone, DeAndre Prince gone, Keelan Robinson gone, Miles Cole gone. Literally a draft class from last year. It's just Brian Thomas, who stud, Mason Smith, we'll see. Darian Jones, we think is good, and then Cam Little, who's the best kicker in the league, probably.
Who was the third
That
one? I
was from
couldn't hear.
last year.
I couldn't hear the third one. Who was the third one?
Jarian is the
Oh,
third
Jerry and
player,
Jones.
and then
Yeah,
yeah,
he's good. Yeah, okay.
Cam. Literally in a draft class that happened last year, you only have four players left.
I mean,
Trent
it's just an
Baalke just
indictment. Yeah, it's an indictment of the last regime. Like we knew this guy was going to be a cancer when we were all dressed up as clowns 4 years ago. Probably we don't have to ever go through that
I was
again.
ready to go back as a clown. I was ready to go back as a clown. So even just looking at the roster turnover that's happened, and they try to give guys a chance. They just thought they weren't good enough to stick around. I mean, even in that last preseason game, Javon Foster didn't look great. I was never a huge Jefferson hater, George Jefferson. I remember the one play he had versus the Jets, which I remember because we were at that game,
Yeah.
and then he tipped a ball that went to Devin Lloyd for a pick. So that's the one highlight he had. So I hope these guys play well. It's just a matter of out of
It's
a
just
lot of
the
players
it's the
bulky drafted.
optics. It's just the optics of it all, you know. But it is what it is. Let's not look too much into the past because whoever's gone is gone. Let's look at actually position by position. Um, See if there's any surprises. Like just going through the offense right now. Lawrence Mullins quarterbacks expected. Running backs, I'm a little surprised, but not too surprised that ETN or Bigsby, one of them didn't get traded, or they probably did, and no like offers
And maybe
that
yeah, shop them. Which yeah, we'll see if they carry four active running backs home. I guess if LaQuint
my
Allen is a
doubt is
special
yeah, my doubt
teamer,
is no. My
I guess
answer
it
is
depends if
no.
they find a way to get LaQuint on special teams. Because if he's playing on special teams, then you can at least say, okay, like he's not playing in the game on running downs, but
Mhm.
we'll see. Because there's people been, a lot of people talking about an ETN trade. Then there's maybe they trade Tank, but we do know they really do like
The
both
two
Tootin and
rookie,
LaQuint Allen.
yeah,
So we'll see how that rotation looks to start the year. Now, wide receiver, we had a little bit of a new change where
yeah.
even before the 53, before it could really be finalized, Austin Trammell, our sacrificial lamb.
For Tim Patrick, yeah, I was gonna say I see the initial 53-man roster that Shipley wrote about. Austin Trammell obviously got waived after the Jags traded for Tim Patrick, who's a big-bodied blocker slash, throw the ball up 50-50 guy, which that's a pretty good option for fifth wide receiver. The Jags seem pretty happy with the receiver room compared to last year, which honestly,
Yeah, and
same.
he's a good blocker too. So I think even just on a lot of the screens and those jet sweeps that Cohen's gonna want to run, having just a guy with size on that outside will definitely help because you know outside of, I mean, BTJ is a tall receiver, but he doesn't like play super. Not that he can't get play stronger, but his game is more built on like speed and route running. So even
Mhm.
just having a guy who can, be more like Parker's physical, but at the same time, his frame. He's not gonna like impose his will like block on every single player. So I think it is just nice to have a player who can put in the rotation and like for the Lions, he played a solid role. People said he was a very locker room guy. So it's definitely a nice addition. Just not only a depth piece to have, but just special teams. Guy was going to show up in the roster and compete and just do his thing. So, I mean, yeah, this the wide receiver room looks pretty good. I don't want to say too much. I'll let it speak for itself. But hopefully we can.
There are
Hopefully we can.
specific roles and versatility that this receiving room has not had since before Balky got here, and that's all we can really ask for at this
I mean,
point.
yeah, we have the dynamic one and Brian Thomas. Hopefully we'll see how you have Travis, the
The
unicorn,
fact that they
even
all
just
moved,
between
all three of those guys, Hunter, Thomas, Diami, they all moved around the wide receiving core from the one or two possessions we saw them on offense. That's like more than we can ask for from last year. Because if we had Christian Kirk, he was specifically going to play in the slot. Parker
Kirk,
Washington,
yeah,
he was
Kirk,
going to specifically play in the slot. Like,
he played outside like a little bit, but he
yeah,
kind of had to ask the team. So yeah, but for the wide receiver room, we feel pretty solid. I saw like a ranking or said it was even like 13th, which even being in the top half of the league wide receiver core, I'll take that. Maybe they can get to top 10 by the end of the year. We'll see how it goes. And I guess
tight
really
end
the
room.
big
Yeah. Oh,
for the
so
tight end room, it's pretty nothing crazy. I mean, we knew
everybody
Strange
has a
was
specific, if any room has like specific roles to play, the tight end room is probably that. Like definitely Brenton Strange is going to be your more versatile blocker, pass catcher hybrid, whereas Hunter Long and Johnny Mudd, if they're on the field, are probably going to be playing, that
I can
block
see Hunter
flat
Long
option.
being a sneaky receiver because even that catch he had in preseason, like Ship said his hands are inconsistent, but he can make some crazy catches. So I think Hunter Long, when they play 12, they still might be able to
Do
have some
something.
play
Yeah.
action passes that they may not be expecting. So I'm kind of like, and then Munn is, yeah, definitely your third string like blocker. So
Offensive line, kind of no surprises there. I mean, we were kind of surprised Cole Van Lannon made the roster, but we heard if he was healthy, he was
I
always going to
guess
make
the
it.
only kind of surprise is them trading Fred Johnson from the outside
Yeah.
back to Philadelphia, which is kind of hilarious. But granted, I would have liked to have Fred for like short yardage running stuff, but
Like
outside of
that
that,
that that eligible
yeah,
receiver
like
kind of
offensive.
place it. Yeah.
I'm not too. I don't want to. I for now I at least want to trust their offensive line projections between, especially having Baselli there and how much he's going to care about one offensive line to be good. I want to at least trust they have an idea of knowing what they're doing, and even with the offensive line now, I think there may not be a lot of elite guys on paper, but I think for what it's worth, they at least have some flexibility to move guys around, especially with Makari. I think they've been playing Adoga both at guard, but he's played tackle before. So we'll and with Milam, they kind of move Milam around. Jonah Mono is pretty versatile. So I think they have hopefully between just Milam, especially he can be like the core six player that if somebody goes down on the interior, hopefully he can just step in and but I think for the offensive line, we kind of know what it is. Well, we don't know what it is, but we know the players who are making it, at least the starters.
Yeah. And then edge rushers, the two big shockers, two undrafted free agents made the roster from the edge spot in BJ Green and Danny Strigao, along with the veteran.
Miles Cole cannot beat out two undrafted free agents, by the way.
It
I'm
sucks because,
sorry.
all the physical tools in the world, and then you still can't beat two
Not
undrafted
even just
rookies.
Miles Cole, but like all
Javal.
just defense
Oh,
the lineman
okay.
that Baalke threw in that room that late round that did nothing, and they got their chain snatched by you. Shout out B. I remember I saw shout out Allen. He said that BJ Green was a walk on in college and then now made an NFL roster as a UDFA. So BJ Green, this is a fighter. I never count him out.
He impressed me the most out of the guys out of the third string, since like preseason game one when I was there too. So shout out to him. Hopefully he can be an NFL player for a long time. Those are the guys that you kind of want to just kind
I
of
mean, yeah,
come out of
just
nowhere and take
are
his
we
place.
including like, all the defensive linemen? Like, is it just defensive line or bringing like edge and tackle?
Oh, I did edges. We can talk about the interior defensive line now. No
Because I
shocker
feel
there. Yeah.
there's kind
Austin
of be some
Johnson.
crossover there too as well.
Yeah. I actually
And
don't
then
know who Austin Johnson is. That's actually one that actually shocked
I
me.
remember they signed him. I I think he played for the Titans a couple years
He's
back. I don't know too much about him other than he is a tackle. Oh, he was drafted by the Titans in the second round, but then he played for the Giants and the Bills. So he's a defensive tackle. So at the
made
very
the
least, he's
roster. He really
he's
made the
better than
roster.
Tyler Lacey.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. He made the roster for Lacey and Jefferson.
And
Oh,
then
31 years old. He's been around the league in a long time.
yeah,
Okay. I
so
had
he's
no idea.
definitely a vet, but uh, you know, even if they aren't having guys with super high upside, I think just how bad this defense is, just having solid floor players is it's better than nothing because you'd rather have players you know what you're getting than players who are unknown that don't provide, because that was kind of the hopeful thing with those guys who are expected to step in and give them depth. They never did. They never developed. So even for a guy who's developing, but you know what his floor is, and that's something you can work with. Also another new addition, Kalen Saunders, who we got for Luke Fortner. Getting a player that actually plan to keep for a player who's not making the roster is, I like that. So, solid. That's a
Linebacking
Gladstone.
room, no shocker there. I think the only shocker that'll be is when we see Ventrell Miller over Devin Lloyd at week 1. Apparently, that's the
Honestly,
word of the
the
town.
surprising. I was kind of surprised Yasir Abdullah made the. And I don't think he played bad in preseason. I just thought at least that Gardeck was, since he was a more established veteran, was probably going to take his role. I guess if
But
Yasir is good on special teams, and he can stick around. But
and
I mean,
he has versatility as well. He doesn't have to
I'm
just
happy he made the roster. I'm just a little bit surprised he made the roster, but
I
I'm
mean,
not.
that was
I'm
actually one
not.
of Balky's picks that I was actually hoping would like actually develop. The
Yeah,
fact that he
I
stuck
remember I was so
around,
excited for your here to do something. So
yeah.
the fact that he's still here, I'm like, maybe he can turn the corner. Maybe he didn't get cut. So there's some hope.
This is a big year for Devin Lloyd though, for sure. This
I
is the
mean, yeah,
one,
contract year, fifth year option declined. We'll see how the
especially
linebacks.
especially there's noise that Ventrell actually might take first team reps over him when week 1 starts. But we'll see when we actually are there next Sunday for sure. No other shockers, Foye Luaka and Jack Kaiser. Guys that will
Yeah,
hold down the middle of
Chad
the
Muma
field.
got his chain snatched by a rookie. Crazy work.
Chad Muma was probably the worst linebacker I've ever seen, which sucks because he tested so well
He
athletically in the
tested
process,
well. He had good tape.
and then it just all disappeared when he got here. I don't get it.
And I just don't like, it's one of those things where is it just all on the coaching staff? Even though they had different coaching staffs. And obviously Lloyd isn't like some superstar, but I think at least Lloyd developed okay. And at least Ventrell showed something, which I'm still surprised that out of all the picks, like the probably pick we hated the most draft day, Ventrell. That was
Is
actually one of
probably
his
what
more solid picks Balky made, which
nothing makes sense. Hey, but to be fair, he was really hurt during this final couple of years at Florida, and then he decides to, once he's finally healthy, he looks like a NFL player. So I guess shout out to Balky for that one, I guess. He hit a 1 out of like 10 draft picks that he failed. So whatever. Cornerback room, I mean, no shockers there. I mean, do we expect somebody like Buster Brown to like kind of hit IR, or they kept him active,
I'm
didn't
not
they?
I'm not sure how the corner room is going to play out in terms of like the bottom of the depth guys. I'm glad Braswell stuck around. I thought Braswell was kind of a guy who I wanted to see more of, so I'm glad he has another year to stick around. And same with Buster, those kind of late round flyers who I think have a little bit of feistiness to their game. And then obviously the top three cornerbacks are set. You've got Tyson, you've got Jarian, you've got Jordan
Jordan,
Lewis, and
yeah.
obviously Travis Hunter is going to play. We'll see how much he plays. My guess is mainly just, third downs, red zone stuff. We see Travis play. So between, Buster and Christian Braswell, one of those guys can carve out a role.
I'm
I
excited to
love.
see Jerry and Jones on the outside though. I thought he had a really good camp. He showed some pretty good stuff on the outside too from the limited snaps that he got.
It's
So
like one of
I'm
those things where
excited.
I'm glad I want to see it. I'm still like a little bit skeptical because he wasn't great on the outside at Florida State, but maybe he can at least just hopefully he just has the hurt, like the revenge season from being like after the reverse hurdle, and he's just gonna play pissed off, because I would love for nothing more than Jar. Like, I think out of all the players, Jarian to me is the one that just screams like that's the guy who, like, something about his attitude. I just love Jarian's attitude.
Yeah, he
He's
wants
the
the
guy who I
success and
want to be a Jags
he
for a
wants to
long time.
succeed and he wants to be here. And that's kind of all he can really ask for,
Yeah, he gets someone who
corners.
fits the culture, and I love that about Jarian. So the cornerback room, I think it's like there's upside, but there's also
Besides the edge room, this has the most potential out of like, you know, out of all the groups that we have on the roster, at least on the
yeah.
defensive side of the ball.
I mean, yeah, linebacker I feel is there's it's really just Foye being steady, and then can other guys develop. But if Tyson can just continue to be healthy, have another good year, Jordan can be a steady vet on the inside, be feisty, and if Jarian takes, so there's young guys and there's also some star power potential. So cornerback room, I feel like the cornerback room. I'm kind of excited to see the safety room. I do not want to talk about the safety room, but
I think we have to though. We have five guys that are on there, and five guys are just like, They're
if there's
really
not
banking on the front seven to be really good with the new play caller. That's
that and
that's that's
even
all
like
I
the
could say.
corners to like at least hold up, but even I feel like if the corners are good, then they're always going to target the safeties, and that's kind of my biggest fear is that how do they hide the safeties so they're not like always getting targeted? Because if you're a defensive coordinator, you're pretty much going to try to attack the safeties as much as you can. And granted, they're further down the field, so if the route doesn't get there in time, then like that's kind of one thing. But just like for the safety room, we've got Eric Murray, who they signed. Who knew he was going to be a starter? Who's just been like a okay, steady, solid vet, but nothing insane. Like he's not a prime Errol Thomas or anything. He's not going to change the way you play coverage. We've got Darnell Savage, who did not have a great year last year. Is it all because of coaching? He's had up and down years in his career. Could he play better this year? I mean, probably. How good is better for him? Even if it's, is he just going to go from a terrible safety, like everybody else in the room, to just a below average to average safety? Then we've got Wingard, who I respectfully, I know he's a great locker room guy. I know he wants to be a Jaguar. I just don't think Wingard is anything than more like an occasional dime safety. To me, Wingard is the better, the closer he is to the line of scrimmage, the better he is. And the farther back in coverage Wingard is, then I don't really want. I just still remember seeing him get posterized by John Smith. Like I just can't get that image. I know that was so long ago, but I just can't get my image out of Wingard in my head. So at least if he's playing, I'm just begging he can at least be used more just in the box. But I feel with modern safeties that you kind of like it's not like the Seattle style where it's just you have free safety always playing free safety, strong safety always playing strong. Especially if Campbell is running a Fangio inspired defense, he's gonna want to have two safeties to try to rotate, confuse that quarterback. Where pre snap it could be a two high shell, and then post snap it rotates something else. So you need safeties that are versatile, which is kind of my biggest worry because you know you don't really have the best skill set like Wingard's not the. Like, I just think he's like an okay guy that can really be good on special teams. I remember the one fumble he caused on Lamar. I don't think it was maybe Lamar specifically, but in the Ravens game, he caused a fumble and he was in the box. So I just think he's better close to the line of scrimmage and not far back. We still have Antonio Johnson, who is the same description where I don't trust him in coverage really. I just want him close to the line of scrimmage. I don't really trust him also covering anybody down the field. And then they also have Rayan
Rayon
Lane,
Lane,
who
pure special teams
basically
guy
took
right
Daniel
now.
Thomas's spot as the new gunner. But I mean, maybe he actually sees some playing time on defense.
Maybe. Yeah, let's talk about the safety room the better. I mean, I feel like they could add there. I mean, someone like
They did
Jabril
also, try,
Peppers.
yeah, they tried to put a claim in for Bo Braid, but he went to the Giants. So they at least looked at the safety room and said we could use an upgrade. So if there's one room that maybe they add to more before or during the year, it could be that safety room because maybe they're not happy, especially the fact that Caleb Bransall's on IR is going to miss the whole season. That to me is probably a pretty big blow because he has the speed to play. Like we don't really know how he was going to be used. I thought of all the rookies, we didn't see him really do much of anything because of the injury. So you don't even really know how they're going to plan on using him, whether he was going to be more free or just playing all around. But he had the speed at least to run back in coverage, and he had some good tackling down the box. So it does suck that Ransall's not playing this year. I think that's going to be a loss that hopefully come back next year with his hair on fire and really just step up.
Yeah, I know Ransall's probably gonna have a big role year one before the injury at camp, so it sucks, but somebody just gotta step up. So we'll see if somebody does do that. And then the specialists, maybe top five room in the NFL at that position. I think we're pretty confident. I'll say top three.
It might. I was gonna say yeah. I don't want to jinx it too much, but they are pretty good specialists. Pro Bowl long snapper, Pro Bowl puncher, kicker who can hit a 7 yard field goal in a game. I don't know other people can say. I don't think anybody else can say that. So
Yeah. I mean,
especially aside
Logan
from
Cook, the greatest net average punter of all time, apparently. But hopefully he doesn't have to punt as much this year. So we'll
yeah.
see.
Hopefully you don't have to. We won't need him as much. He won't get as many reps as he did the past.
However many years he's been in the league. Shout out to Logan.
But yeah, I feel in terms of just the 53, I feel the one thing I kind of want to go back on a little bit is even just some of the D line depth because out of most of the players they added pre or no, most was added post draft. A lot of them were just defensive linemen. You know, they added Dewan Smoot, they added Emmanuel Ogba, they added Austin Johnson, they added Kalen Saunders. Those are four new players that they added after the draft that they just didn't like how the room looked. They wanted to add more depth to it. And those guys all made the roster. So I'm just even trying to think of if we didn't get any of those guys, it would have been like Tyler Lacey, Jordan Jefferson, Miles Cole, and I don't even know who else would have made the roster. Like just other young bulky picks that never flashed out that would have made the team just kind of based off he didn't want to get anybody to replace them. So I do appreciate, especially that they saw the D line needed more depth to it. Even though they didn't go for guys with super high ceilings, they went for guys who they know what to expect. So I'm really just thinking like who would have still been on the roster, probably not contributing if we didn't sign those guys. And it's all of them like all Balky's players. So I'm just glad, especially with the defensive line, that he saw that approach and wanted to just add that depth to the room.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, it feels like we're just, scratching at the bit to get to next Sunday. For better, for worse. I'm kind of ready to get there. I'm actually going to be glad that I'm working during most of the college football slate tomorrow. So that's going to be exciting. Did UCF win yesterday, Javal? Because I know
Yeah,
they were
I
in
don't talk
originally.
about like they won, but they lost still.
Yeah, it was Jacksonville State, right? It was
Dude,
pretty
they won
bad.
17-10 after there was like 2 hours of rain delays. So I feel bad for the poor souls that stayed out just to watch it. The game was 0-0 at halftime.
I heard about
Shout out
that.
to Pine of Jack because he said he took the under. Under and then didn't score any points.
Shout out to Irish Jack. I love Irish Jack.
Oh my god. I can't. But I mean, yeah, UCF won, but
At
I'm
what
not.
cost?
They won, and everybody's still miserable.
I'm cautiously optimistic about the Gators this year. I just have a feeling Lagway doesn't stay healthy the whole year. I have a terrible feeling about that.
Hopefully, all that Chipotle doesn't get to him.
He's got like so many NIL deals already. It's ridiculous.
Oh, at least he can make some money.
Yeah. Any other last thoughts before we end it, before we kind of take another week off to kind of just decompress before week one begins, Javal?
Um, I mean, just even thinking about how they're planning for the Panthers, and I was watching a preview video, which we have NFL preview videos back. I'm so excited. I think to me, if the Jags are gonna win next week, they're probably gonna make the Panthers linebacker core go through hell because even I know one Panthers fan, like not even just him, but literally when Ruben was released, I saw a Panthers fan saying we need a linebacker, like pick him up, like pick up Muma. So their linebacker core is not very good, according to their fans. And if there's one thing I think Cohen can exploit, both in the running and the passing game, is just linebackers middle of the field. Especially if they can get some big runs, then I think that would be nice. So just how I'm approaching Cohen's going to envision this, kind of want to attack those guys because the D line should be a lot better. Derek Brown's a really good interior defensive lineman. You don't want to run the ball at him. They try to beef up the trenches. So, I mean, they're going to obviously test out the offensive line to see how good it is. But at the same time, though I don't hate the offensive line, I think Derek Brown is a better player than those guys. So, if they're going to have some success, my prediction is they're going to try to do more like force the linebackers into space. Maybe I think it's probably more of an ETN game than the tank game, if that makes sense in terms of front, or maybe 2 and 2 because he is supposed to be on the edge, force the linebackers in some bad positions. Maybe Brenton Strange has some more catches than we expect, just to kind of help move the chains on third down, second down, just get him in space versus a linebacker. So that's kind of my big prediction. And then on defense, I mean, Carolina's offensive line is pretty. I think Carolina's offense is pretty underrated. So
I was gonna say they're decent, right? At the very least. But
yeah,
Icky had like a that work done on him, right?
yeah, I think Icky's because I like their interior guys. It's really just can we get pressure on Icky and then can we stop the run? So I still think it's. I saw people 8 out of 10 people thought we were gonna win. I think it's just gonna be a. It wasn't like blow. People thought it was gonna be a close game, like one possession type game. Probably both teams go over 20 points. So I'm excited. I'm just also trying to because I know it's going to be close. I know that there's a chance they can lose. So I'm just trying to balance my tempers where even if I just really want the offense to look different. Which
Yeah.
shout out like really quick, I want to go over this. I don't think I didn't talk about it on this on here, but I remember I saw a tweet from Daniel Griffiths
Oh,
saying
look
how
at that. I have the tweet up right now. That's
yeah,
so
how the
funny.
Jag well, there was
How
one too where the
predictable.
Jags like pre-snap motion and how for the past like 2022 they were ranked 12th at pre-snap motion, and then 2023 they were ranked 20th, and then 2024 they're ranked 32nd.
It got lazier and lazier as the years go
Like
by,
just
which is
progress. I see the progression of how they lost Jim Bob Cooter. He gave the keys to press, and then they just added no replacements. They did not add any modern tweaks to the offense. So that to me is the one thing where I just want to see the offense just look modern. Like they actually are trying to make it easy and disguise things. And
when
then
it
so it's
looked
not
modern, the offense looked good in the preseason, no matter who the quarterback was. What a novel concept. It's that's just how like I feel. Like more modern offense, real NFL players on this NFL roster,
and
and the
just not
Jaguars
have
will be
like
okay.
even
Yeah.
like with the defense too, just even last year, how they did not they 30
30
second and
seconds in blitz
you can read it.
percentage.
Yeah, read it.
Yeah. 32nd in blitz percentage and heavy blitz percentage, 30th in stunt percentage, second in man coverage, and first in press man coverage. And you don't
I
even have the
feel
talent to be doing
I
that.
feel like a lot of things are gonna be inverse or they're gonna run a lot more zone and they're gonna blitz because bro, they were blitzing Tua.
With our third
Shout
string guys and we're getting home. I mean, oh my God. Like
yeah,
both of the undrafted rookies that we kept on the 53 man, they both
yeah.
got sacks against
Shout
Tua
out
Tagovailoa.
Shout out Campanelli because obviously he didn't want to show too much, but in that last preseason game, he was throwing some good looks at the Dolphins that they weren't prepared for it. So obviously, I know he's not going to show everything in the bag, and if teams prepare for the blitzes more, then they won't be caught off guard. But he's going to try to get more different blitz looks, confuse things up for quarterbacks. So you have to guess where the pressure's coming from. So both in just terms of Liam Cohen making it easier for Trevor and the defense trying to make it more difficult on the quarterbacks. I'm just hopeful that even if the talent, I think just by virtue of having just better coaching, the play like the team will just the defense and offense will just be better just by virtue of okay, Trevor doesn't have to force like the plays are already open for him. He doesn't have to force it as much, or he doesn't have to try to play hero ball because this play is already set up for him. Or with the defense, it's not just we're gonna play man. We're going to have our four players and play man. It's we're gonna send one look. Same thing. I was talking about the safeties pre-snap. Like a lot of the Fangio teams, they'll show one look pre-snap, and then post-snap they'll change it differently. So the quarterback now has to think for a split second more to throw the ball, which then opens up another time for the pass rusher to win. So just between everything, I just hope that that can all balance it to where it's we get to really see just how a modern offensive staff or modern just coaching staff in general can make all the difference. Because especially with the safety, like really, if he can make the safety room just be average for the rest of the year, then Campanelli, you work magic on your hands. So, but yeah, I think that's just my main thoughts. Just
Let's look
counting down
good.
the days.
Yeah, let's look good. That's all we really are asking for, right? At the end of the day.
Because I don't think the Panthers are also going to be. I think the Panthers are going to be in the same boat as us. So if we did lose to them by a field goal or something, I wouldn't say the season's over. It's just, I mean, obviously, I would like to have a win, but I think it'd be cool if Bryce Young looked like a top 10 quarterback and Trevor looked like a top seven quarterback. But we'll see.
Yeah, let's see which number one overall pick looks better next Sunday. We'll talk about it more as we get closer to the game, obviously. But Javal, it's been wonderful once again. Season's is legit going on by. We're less than a week away from meaningful NFL football for the first time since February. So let's see how it goes.
Go Jags.
Go Jags. All right, Javal, I'm gonna leave you be, and we'll talk to you next week.
Catch you later, my friend.
All right. You got anything to plug besides the channel, UYGY, anything else? Like I know you got
Um,
stuff to push.
Nothing crazy. Just once again, if you ever need athleisure clothing, y'allgyming.com. We got all your needs. So just let us know if you need it. Check us out. Check out the website.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching. If you're still here, have a wonderful rest of your day.